You with all your shedding.
I don't shed.
Really?
I unapologetically think Monsters University is an underrated movie. So, as you guys know, for obvious reasons, Monsters Inc. is my favorite Pixar movie, but it mainly entertains kids while teaching adults life lessons. Monsters University is different. It entertains and teaches kids and adults. Here's how. Intrinsic Motivation. Not gonna lie, I've been dying for years to use a college textbook. Intrinsic motivation is doing something for its own sake. It involves factors such as self-determination and opportunities to make choices. Intrinsic motivation is doing something simply because you like it. And we can safely say that no one loves excelling in general more than Mike Wazowski.
I'm officially a college student.
External motivators can actually slow learning down and lead students making more errors during the learning process. What really matters is the level of intrinsic motivation and how much the student wants to learn. If the student's learning because it's fulfilling for them and it's enjoyable, rather than because they're fixated on getting high grades or pleasing someone, then it actually improves the whole learning experience.
I don't know a single scarer who can do what you do. You made the deal with Hardscrabble. You took a hopeless team and made them champions. All I did was catch a pig.
Technically, I caught the pig.
Exactly.
So I love intrinsic motivation because it can be applied in literally any area of life. Obviously for school, but also work, hobbies, health, basically anything that requires dedication. And I think it's important for everyone, especially kids, to learn how to be self-motivated because it prepares them for the future and unique social settings. That leads us to the second lesson, which is unlikely friends.
James P. Sullivan.
Mike Wazowski.
So what's it called when you don't like something at first, but you build appreciation for it over time? I kept researching a word for this, and the best I could do was actually ask ChatGPT, which I'm unapologetic about too. And the word it told me was acquired taste. And acquired taste is defined as preferences for certain foods or drinks that are initially unappealing, but become enjoyable over time due to repeated exposure and familiarity. If that isn't Mike and Sully, IDK what is. These two can't stand each other, but they're forced to learn together, work together, and live together in the same house. Repeated exposure leads to them building appreciation for qualities they initially disliked, but now like. For example, Mike couldn't stand Sully because Sully was a bit all over the place and he was impulsive at times. Yet these same qualities were needed by Sully and helped the team when they competed in the scare games. At the same time, Sully didn't really appreciate Mike. He basically thought Mike wasn't scary, yet Mike ended up pulling off the biggest scare that the school had ever seen. Sounds cliche, but there is a lot of truth in unlikely friends. And I know at least two close friends that I did not like at all when I met them. And I make it a point to tell them that at least 3 times a year. Anyways, my point is, this teaches us not to trust in first impressions because they can be wrong. People can change. And speaking of change, that takes us to the third lesson, which is changing majors.
The two of you did something together that no one has ever done before. You surprised me.
As a side note, I just want to note how similar the points in a fictional movie are to real life. First off, studying or partying like crazy, I think is something every student does during their first semester of college. There's no balance. It's either or. Not to mention the threats of being kicked out of a program or failing a program, like the scaring program. In real life, if you fail anatomy and physiology, you have to restart anatomy, physiology 1, and anatomy and physiology 2, A&P 1 and 2. Thankfully, I passed. It was a stressful time. Enough chatter. But most notably, this movie shows that changing majors is pretty funny because many college students actually end up changing majors. At least 1/3 of college students change their major, which is completely normal. Literally and figuratively, Mike changed his major from being a scarer to the coach or teacher of a scarer, where he thrives at. Now, in the real world, we may desire to do something that we love. However, we could have a hidden skill or passion we didn't know about until we went to college and ended up changing our majors.
How'd I do?
Oh, not too shabby, Don.
Thanks. I cannot get down.
My concluding thoughts or side notes. Speaking of Mike's limitations, I'm not completely sure whether there's a hidden message of disability in Monsters University. I've heard a couple of videos about that message. It's not my place to talk about it. But what I will say is, as somebody who did have a physical disability, bow legs, I do think this movie teaches us that what some people consider makes you weird or weak can actually make you very strong.
The best scarers use their differences to their advantage.
So I think kids should realize this. Even if they're not the popular ones, they can still do things that the popular kids can't do. For example, the fraternity could never pull off the scream that Mike pulled off. Even Uzma Kappa is a wonderful example of Mike, but in reverse. So they thought they couldn't qualify as scarers, but they're actually pretty scary, and they did qualify.
Thanks for taking it easy on Grandpa.
Shows that change can show, if that makes sense. This lesson demonstrates that change can show how adaptable you are. And it's great for children to learn this and for adults to be reminded. So don't get me wrong, I love Monsters, Inc. That's my favorite Pixar movie. Probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I love the creativity, the comments about parenthood, and the encouragement for everyone to overcome their fears. But I think when it comes to real life application and lessons we can apply in everyday life, I gotta give it to MU. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you want to talk more in the comment section, if you have your opinions, please let me know down below. If you really enjoyed the video, you can share it. And if you want to support the Fitness Fandom YouTube page, you can do all 3. As always, remember to stay mentally fit, emotionally fit, and physically fit. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.
He's like a mountain with fur. Oh, come on. I don't even work out.
Yeah, me neither. I don't want to get too big.